everyone, and welcome back to Anne's Family Recipe. In case you didn't notice, I haven't posted a video since Memorial Day, and that is because I am, can you see? I'm pregnant again! I'm currently 19 weeks pregnant with my 6th baby. If you've been following along for a while, you may have seen with my last pregnancy with my little girl Claire, I get quite sick in the first trimester. So basically, we found out on Memorial Day that I was pregnant, and I got sick very early, probably around 4 or 5 weeks pregnant. So I was down for the count all of June, all of July. My summer pretty much started at the beginning of August, and I was touch and go there for a little bit. I'm feeling a lot better now though. So I had to take the summer off from filming videos. I didn't even step foot into a grocery store for over a month. I didn't cook anything for over a month. I can't stand the way anything tastes or smells during that first trimester. But now I'm thriving in my second trimester and I am ready to get back in the kitchen again. So today for you, I have 3 really tasty end of summer inspired recipes. I'll be sharing my family's favorite peach cobbler, a lemon garlic pasta with chicken, and also some really cute and tasty Funfetti cookies that my kids love. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Let's get cooking. For my peach cobbler, I'm starting with these 5 massive peaches. These are Chambersburg peaches, which is actually a city in Pennsylvania that I grew up near. They are huge and juicy and sweet, and they were on sale at my grocery store this past week, and I had to pick them up to make this incredible end of summer dessert. So I just pitted them and cut them into wedges. You need enough peaches to fill the bottom of a 13 by 9 inch baking dish. So for me, 5 was plenty, but you might need a few more if your peaches are a little bit smaller. Next, I greased my glass baking dish, added in the peach slices, and sprinkled them with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, which I put into my hand so I could crumble it evenly over the top of all the fruit, and also 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And then I stirred that together. So this helps to sweeten the peaches and also thicken any juices that come out as they bake. I covered the peaches with aluminum foil and baked them at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. And while they baked, I made the delicious biscuit topping for the cobbler. This starts with 1½ cups of all-purpose flour and 1/2 cup of cornmeal. Now, if you don't like cornbread, I would omit the cornmeal and just add another 1/2 cup of flour. My daughter doesn't really care for that taste, but if you do love cornbread, this biscuit topping is totally for you. It is so good. To the flour and cornmeal, I added 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then whisked that all together. Next, I grabbed 1 stick of unsalted butter from my freezer. I froze this for a few hours before making my biscuit topping, and this makes it very easy to grate on a cheese grater. And that way you have these even, small little bits of butter that you can mix easily and quickly into your biscuit dough. I like to use a fork to incorporate these bits of butter into the dry ingredients. That way my hand's not touching the mixture and warming up the butter. Lastly, I measured out 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream and then incorporated that into the dry ingredients to bring the dough together. After 20 minutes of baking, I pulled the peaches from the oven and then topped them with spoonfuls of the biscuit dough. I like to disperse them evenly over the top to start and then fill in the gaps, just so I make sure that it is all evenly covered. Lastly, I sprinkled some granulated white sugar over the top of the biscuit dough. I filled my 1/4 cup measuring cup, but I ended up only using about 2 or 3 tablespoons here. This can totally be to taste, but it's nice to have that little extra sweetness in the biscuit dough. Then this goes back into the oven uncovered for an additional 20 to 25 minutes until the biscuits are lightly golden brown. As the cobbler cooled, I made some homemade whipped cream. I used about 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, a tablespoon of granulated sugar, and just a splash of vanilla extract, and then I whipped that together. This peach cobbler tastes amazing, and it has so many great textures going on. There's the soft, juicy peaches, and then that crumbly cornbread-like biscuit topping. I love this. It screams end of summer to me. This is one of my husband's favorite summer desserts, and also this doubles as an equally delicious breakfast. Next up, I'm prepping some ingredients for my lemon garlic pasta with chicken. So first I zested 1 lemon, and I wanted to show you I'm using my microplane tool, and you only want to get the yellow part of the skin, none of the white, because the white part is bitter, but the yellow part has that really great lemon oil, so you'll get a very intense, tasty lemon flavor. I also halved my lemon so I could juice that in a little bit, and then I prepped 3 cloves of garlic. So I peeled the skin off, and then later I'll put them through my garlic press. Next, I added a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of olive oil into a large nonstick skillet with higher sides, and I let that warm up over about medium heat while I prepped my chicken breasts. So I had 3 very large boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I sliced them in half lengthwise so they'd be a little bit thinner and they would cook faster. I seasoned these with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and then once I put them into my hot skillet, I seasoned the other sides. I was making a larger amount of chicken, so I decided to cook it in 2 batches so it would get nice and brown, it wouldn't steam in the pan. So I cooked 4 pieces at a time, and it took a few minutes per side. I made sure that they were golden brown and cooked through, and then I set them aside on a plate and covered them lightly while I did the second batch. While the chicken cooked, I also prepared my pasta. So I had a large pot of boiling water. I added some salt to it and then boiled about 12 ounces of pasta. I was using up some half-empty boxes, so it's a little bit of a mix here. Once my pasta had finished cooking, I attached my handy silicone strainer to the side, and I also grabbed a heat-safe glass measuring cup and removed about 1 cup of the cooking liquid. This will help you later. You can make your own chicken broth, and also it'll help you thin out the sauce if you need to. The recipe calls for 1/2 cup of chicken broth, so I used my chicken base, which is a very concentrated flavor. I used only about 1/2 teaspoon and 1/2 cup of that boiling pasta water and dissolved it so then I had chicken broth. And then I saved the other 1/2 cup of the pasta water for my sauce later. When the chicken had finished cooking, I reduced the heat a little bit and added another tablespoon of butter and olive oil, a light sprinkling of red pepper flakes, you can omit this if you'd like, and then I also crushed in my 3 cloves of garlic and sauteed this just for about 30 seconds. Next, I poured in the chicken broth, and you can bump up the heat here too. You want it to start to bubble, and that'll help you get all those brown bits from the cooked chicken off the bottom of the pan. I also added in the lemon zest and the juice of the lemon, along with about 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. I also added a 1/4 cup of heavy cream to make the sauce a little bit creamier. You could definitely add more. I just had to save the rest of mine to make the whipped cream for my peach cobbler, but this added a nice creamy velvety element to the sauce. Lastly, I sprinkled in about a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I stirred everything together until it was combined and brought it to a simmer and then added in the cooked pasta. Once I tossed the pasta in the sauce, I did think that it needed a little more liquid, so I added in some of that reserved pasta water that I had, about a 1/2 cup. And then I went back over to my chicken breasts and decided to dice them up into smaller pieces so it would just be easier for my family to eat. So once I chopped that up, I added the cooked chicken back into the pasta and stirred it all together. And as a finishing touch, if you have some fresh parsley, you can chop that up and sprinkle it over top. Once I served this, I did add a little bit of dried parsley just for that nice pop of green color. This pasta had great flavor. I was looking for a recipe that didn't incorporate tomatoes because I've been having a little bit of acid reflux from my pregnancy, but this really fit the bill with a strong lemon and garlic flavor and a little bit of creamy texture too. I loved it. Lastly, I'm sharing a recipe for Funfetti cake cookies. I actually filmed this for Memorial Day weekend and then was never able to make the video, but I think these would be great as a fun treat or after school snack for your kids this fall. So I started with 1 stick of softened unsalted butter. I added a 1/2 cup of sugar and creamed that together using my hand mixer. Then I added 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract along with 2 eggs and mixed that all together. To the wet ingredients, I added 1 box of Funfetti cake mix along with 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and then I mixed that all together. I lined my sheet pan with a silicone baking mat and then used my medium cookie scoop to portion out the cookie dough. These bake at 350 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. These cookies were sweet, soft, and fluffy, and a huge hit with my kids. You like it?
Yeah.
Good. Is that good, Claire? Claire, do you like it? You like it? Good.